Chuck Norris? Can you sign my Tacoma?
I'll be glad to.
From the fist of a legend rises a new action star. A hero who's there to save the day and the night. So fearless, so rugged, he's tough as Chuck.
You replaced me with a truck?
Toyota, let's go places.
A bit. Off to a 3-0 start. Are the Wildcats for real?
Well, they were devastated last season due to injury, and they added some incoming freshmen that have been so talented. Put that all together, and this team is earning victories and gaining momentum and confidence every single game.
Yeah, 3 results so far. They've come in thrilling fashion. Yuka Kurosaki, the late goal in the win over Southern Illinois Edwardsville. 2-1 victory there. And then taking on Little Rock from the Sun Belt Conference. 2 OTs, Holly Olding delivers in the 105th minute. And then Yuka Kurosaki again in the win over Morehead State. That a 2-1 victory in overtime. And this Yuka Kurosaki in her sophomore season is the big story for Kentucky.
Well, the Japanese international is at another level on the ball, able to connect teammates. She sees passes 3 and 4 ahead. It's going to be key for this offense for everyone to get on her same wavelength.
On the other side, Wisconsin coming off a tough loss to the Florida State Seminoles, but still Paula Wilkins, one of the top coaches in the Big Ten, and the foundation very solid.
Well, they'll always be extremely well organized, but they're looking for a bounce-back reaction after a difficult loss against a nationally ranked Florida State. They're going to rely on some of their special players. One, Danny Rhodes, will be coming off the bench, hampered by injury, and they'll be relying on Victoria Pickett. The Canadian international is on the Mac Hermann Trophy watch list for one of the best players in the country, explosive in that midfield. Once she breaks a tackle, her speed is breakout.
9 of 11 starters back for Wisconsin in 2018. It's the Badgers and the Wildcats coming up next from Lexington. Mike Lexington, I'm the father of Philip
Lexington was ejected from the car and died on the scene. You can be the big football star and still lose your life if you don't make the right decision.
The Dogs are out today in Lexington as the Wildcats are ready for the Wisconsin Badgers. Should be a fun matchup here today from the Bluegrass State. take a look at the lineups for Wisconsin. They'll come out in the 4-4-2, and some of the standout players, Victoria Pickett, of course, Emily Borkman, another. And Kate, this is a unit that can really light up the scoreboard.
Well, key is that back four setting play, holding the ball, and then playing in that midfield, looking for Victoria Pickett. Alexis Tye does all the dirty work, is that shield that protects that back four, which allows Pickett the option to always go forward and have that in her back pocket. She'll be looking for Rice and Borgman up top.
Kentucky Wildcats go with the 3-5-2. We talked about Kurosaki and what she brings to the pitch, the midfielder number 10, but Abby Steiner is another number 22 who we are really going to have fun watching here this afternoon.
Well, incredible speed, Abby Steiner up top. She's going to look to get in behind and in between the seams and gaps of the Badger defenders, but it's all going to start with that back three being very solid. Three in the back are a little bit more vulnerable with a lot more space to cover. How are they going to read the play early enough to cover those gaps and to remove their vulnerabilities?
Series history, this is the 8th time these two programs have met. Badgers lead it by a considerable margin, 5-1-1 all time, but last season Wisconsin winning up in Madison 1-0 in the season opener. Kentucky sort of wants to pay them back for that here this afternoon. It was a much younger Kentucky squad at the time, and in Ian Carey's second season, oh, what a difference a year makes. The Wildcats, they've grown, they've matured so much here over the past 12 months.
Well, the first thing he wanted to do coming in was change the culture. He felt like they were not hungry enough. So he's increased the intensity, increased the drive. And a little wrinkle that he does that you don't see consistently in the college game is a 3-5-2 lineup. That style of play and that formation makes other teams adapt to you because of the extra players you have in midfield. It only works if your back line is solid and you get cover sometime from your wing midfielders to help out and compensate where there was weaknesses.
Badgers now working out of the center circle and getting into it here. Wildcats scrambling back defensively. Victoria Pickett, her first touch. Marissa Bosco, number 9 here this afternoon for Kentucky. You get a look at Peyton Wesley right there. 5'9" junior. One of several local players from the state of Wisconsin. Badgers try and slide a pass in. It's played atop the 18 and sent back. Cleared by the Wildcats. And there is that superstar freshman, Abby Steiner, wearing number 22. If you blink, you might miss her.
So we often talk about how fast a player is on a roster, but this is lightning fast. Her times in the 100 and 200 meters track races in Ohio are in the vicinity of Marion Jones and many other fast relay sprinters that we've seen in the Olympics. So you do need to keep an eye on her. Key for Wisconsin is to get back to pressure. Always have your hand on her back. Don't let her turn. And once she turns, no one's going to be able to keep up.
Ball across the end line. And the first corner kick of the match. Badgers will send Lauren Rice over there. The sophomore had a goal against Marquette in the first match of the season for Wisconsin. The Wildcats defense in place. This ball is sent in. It is a good one. And Wildcats barely able to clear it. Nicely done, though, by Wisconsin here early. Kowalski, solid touch. And now played from that end line again. Kentucky challenged here in the opening minutes. Still have not cleared it. This ball serviced in. It is right at the goalie and on top of it. What a save by Hannah Leonard here in the 3rd minute.
Wisconsin's ability to maintain pressure and recycle service, not just a first, a second, and then a third service all the way on the other flank is pulling apart this back line of Kentucky. And you almost got to see Murtha get on the end of that.
Wisconsin trying to make an early statement here on the road. Simmering a little bit after that loss to Florida State. And they're controlling the tempo here in the first few minutes. Foster Ignafo trying to get it upfield. And now Kentucky will send it back. So here's Hannah Leonard, the freshman goalie for Kentucky. First, we'll take a look at how this went down, Kate.
Well, Murtha comes up and just not able to put enough power, and she kicked it right at freshman goalkeeper Hannah Leonard, who stayed big, had a good reaction after she realized it was going to hit off her thigh. That builds a little confidence as a goalkeeper. Not exactly the save that you want, but it didn't go in. You kind of dodged a bullet, and now you can take a big, deep breath and then go forward.
Abby Steiner, nice turn. Sends it down the pitch for Kurosaki. Most dangerous player for Kentucky here early in the season. Good challenge, though, by the Badgers, and a corner kick coming up for the Wildcats.
And that's something you're going to see from Kentucky all game long. They're going to look to play in that seams, have players join from the midfield, get in between the outside back and the center back of the Badgers and try to find them either through or a little dink ball over the top.
So Yuka Kurosaki. Her intelligence, her anticipation made such a difference with this Wildcats 11. Gina Crissetti sends it into the 18, and that's nicely done by Jordan Bloomer, the junior keeper, a little more experienced, but still sort of finding her way for Wisconsin in the net.
Well, this is her first season as a starter. Clem graduated last year. She was one who got a significant amount of time, and a lot of Wisconsin's offense allowed them to play direct because every time Clem got the ball, she could boot it 75 yards. Now they're going to look to build out a little bit. Her kicking game isn't as long, and she will grow into this role as a starting goalkeeper.
Mariska Bosco, tremendous touch. Played now inside the 18. The turn by Ignafo, and now Kentucky countering with some pressure of their own. Pretty solid action here in the first 6 minutes. And now Jordan Bloomer on guard. Here's Kurosaki once more. 3 goals on the season for Yuka. Just out to an awesome start. This ball's got some nice curl. Head attempt is just a little bit off. You saw Peyton Atkins, though, get up in the air. And a feeling that this one was going to be exciting end-to-end play. That's exactly what we've gotten here so far in this first half. Across the touchline will be a throw-in for the Wildcats. And this Kentucky team, very young, but very confident. You take a look at your keys, Kate.
Well, they're going to try to deny Pickett number 11 from the Badgers any sniff of the ball. With 5 midfielders, they'll be able to plug those gaps and prevent the passing channels into Pickett, and then try to look to hit Wisconsin on the counter. They may connect the ball 1 or 2 times. They're going to look to play that split ball in between the center back and outside backs to a speedy Steiner or any of the other advancing midfielders.
Cameron Bogalski playing high and white here today. Pretty good attempts by both teams out of the gates. That one taken care of by the freshman goalie, Hannah Leonard, one of 3 freshmen goalkeepers for Kentucky this season. Wisconsin now will toss it in on the far side. Take a look at returning firepower this season. Kentucky 86% of their goal scoring, and Wisconsin 94. Wisconsin again 9 of 11 starters back.
Well, Wisconsin does have 9 of their 11 starters, but they're missing one right now, Danny Rhodes, who has an ability to create something out of thin air all on her own up top. Nursing an injury she picked up in preseason. She's played some minutes against Florida State, and we'll see her today. But that's one starter that they're going to need if they're going to want to have a great season, because she is such a talented forward, so competitive. She's able just to create those half chances and convert them.
Well, Kentucky certainly was something to prove. The SEC preseason rankings, 13 out of 14 right now in conference play. I mean, Kate, how much of that do you think these players really digest? Is it used as a source of motivation, or does it mean nothing?
Absolutely. You're ticked off if you see that, especially if you rate yourself pretty high and you had injuries the year before. That's something you can't control. If you just got outclassed and outdominated every minute on the field and that's your best 11, well, then that's going to take a hit to your confidence. But when you're playing on a decimated roster, you kind of look at that and be like, these people don't know what they're talking about.
Wildcats trying to collect it. Good touch to midfield. And now at the feet of Bosco. Nice little touch there to Steiner. She couldn't gather it in. And Cameron Murtha now working across the touchline. Both teams starting to really get their rhythm. Is Gretchen Mills physical that time. And there right is Danny Rhodes, player we talked about, the junior. One of the local kids, tremendous basketball player in high school, great soccer player as well, just a great all-around athlete and a Mac Herman watch list recipient. Play down the center circle now. Kentucky trying to get some numbers forward here. Eva Mitchell. Mitchell with 2 assists this season. And it will roll out. It'll be a goal kick for Wisconsin. Anything surprise you here early on, Kate?
Not really. Both teams are feeling each other out. Wisconsin is from the north. We're not. I live in Wisconsin, so I can say this. We're not used to this heat. So as much as you may want to go press, and you have a lot of hunger and intensity to have a positive bounce back after the loss to nationally ranked Florida State, you have to also conserve your energy because you're just not used to that. It does pay dividends if you make it in the tournament and you get a team from the South that has to come up and play you in Wisconsin in November. But right now, it's an advantage towards Kentucky, and they do look to be a bit fresher and a little bit more hungry when they step up, especially Grosso. And this left back is putting pressure up on the back of every single Badger player, as well as Mitchell, denying service from the flanks.
Going down hard is Steiner. She was squeezed that time by a couple Badgers, and now Wisconsin working quickly. Tremendous speed here from Victoria Pickett. They love her when she gets on runs like this, and the official steps in to call the foul as Pickett goes down hard.
And we get to see that breakout speed that she is known for. A very tight touch against the turn of pressure, able to get inside the angle where the only thing that Crosetti could do would be foul. Now, if I'm Pickett or I'm any leader on the Badgers, I'm going to be telling the referee, okay, that's one. Because that's usually what happens to Pickett in every single game. You can't stop her unless you foul her. And because of that little challenge, she goes down hard, get a bloody nose. She's going to take a moment out. And Steph Fabry is going to get some minutes. A hard-working player, very, very aggressive.
Well, even though you're landing on grass, when you do it nose first like that, that is not a good feeling.
And she knew right away, and she's holding it.
Never like to diagnose from up here, but that could easily be a broken nose.
Hey, it's just part of the game when you play soccer.
Taken. Oh, how about the save by Hannah Leonard? She climbs the ladder, gets a glove on it, and it's another one. She's got 2 here early on.
Lauren Rice is the one stepping up, and she hits it with pace and underneath the bar. Unfortunately, right at Hannah Leonard. We get to see her ability to shoot from distance and earn her team another opportunity on goal off a set piece. Look for Claire Shea on the back post, as well as Maria Sella.
Second corner kick for Wisconsin. The wind right now is blowing big time from left to right. You see the Kentucky flags up there top of your screen. So Wisconsin continuing to apply pressure. The next SEC storied film is titled Stacy's Gift. It premieres tonight, 9 Eastern, 8 Central Time, right here on SEC Network. It's the story of Arkansas Hall of Fame golfer Stacy Lewis, who overcame scoliosis to become one of the best on the LPGA Tour. As always, it's available on the ESPN app as well. Still scoreless here in the 13th minute. Lou Felios, Kate Markgraf, the Notre Dame legend here in Lexington. Never gets old hearing that, does it, Kate?
It actually got old after the first time you said it. It's okay to be a legend in your own mind, but that's about the only legend that I was.
Alexis Ty. Nice cross in, the shot taken, and Wisconsin is on the scoreboard. Cameron Murtha with the left-footed blast.
I'm so nonchalant on that celebration. Murtha is so talented on the flank, usually the one delivering the cross, but Alexis Ty, the defensive center midfielder, is able to get end line and turn it back in. It's her ability to keep it low in traffic. Hannah Leonard didn't see it early enough, didn't get down quick enough. And even though it didn't have a ton of power, it was extremely accurate.
First goal of the season for the sophomore. And the one-timer makes it 1-0. Wildcats trying to answer here quickly. Again, the speed of Steiner tested. Let's take another look at the goal by Murtha.
This all comes from Ty, able to get the ball bent back, which is very difficult for a midfielder to defend and kick out. A run from midfield, a little delayed, explosive, get on it, but more importantly, she calmed her body down enough and was able to connect with it and actually put it in the side corner to give Wisconsin the lead.
Played now by Crissetti as Maya Sella wins it back for Wisconsin. So clearly for Kentucky, we talked about the big 3 wins that they had coming in, but they had not faced a team the caliber of these Wisconsin Badgers. So there's that point in the season, the first time where you really feel like you are playing a team with equal and even better talent possibly than you have on your roster. Very early in this match, and the Badgers playing well on the road. Take a look at Coach Wilkins in her 12th season, 6 times Big Ten Coach of the Year, 11 NCAA berths. And she thinks that this team has the talent to get past perhaps the second round of the NCAA tournament. That's the goal. It has not been done in her program since 2010. Murtha now. Tightly after scoring the goal. And a corner kick coming up. Murtha from Kensington, Maryland. 5'8" sophomore. Play this one now inside the 18. And Wildcats will quickly clear it out. Grace Douglas. Goes far side, Peyton Wesley. Kentucky will throw it in, and Ian Carey in his 2nd season, former goalie from Ireland, just raved about his team, loves the attitude, loves the effort so far in this young season. Trailing here at home 1-0. There are some open pockets right now for Wisconsin to exploit. Here's the main weapon, though, Abby Steiner. Full head of steam. She is tough to catch. And again, the challenge will knock it out. Kentucky should have a throw in deep.
Abby Steiner, incredible speed, but she's dribbling the ball with her right foot, which is directly where Claire Shea, the center back from Wisconsin, is. So she's exposing the ball when she's trying to do that separation touch. Claire Shea went to the ground. It was all or nothing opportunity, and she was able to capitalize on it in order to prevent that attack.
Maya Sella. Taken away by Agnolfo. Cam Murtha very active here in the first half. And now Borgman. Good crowd on hand. Erie Bell Soccer Complex. Here on Bark in the Park Day. I did not bring my dog to the park here today, but several are out there on the burn.
This should have been when Georgia was playing, get the Bulldogs. It would have been fun.
Would have been perfect.
It just would have been fun for us announcers. It's too easy.
Of course. Badgers on the far side now. And this is Fabry who came in. That's another good challenge by Kentucky, but not able to clear. Badgers trying to set things up. Good touch there, and another shot. This one heads to the left. Hannah Leonard on the move once again.
We'll get to see Pickett able to come back in after that bloody nose. Steph Avery, who relieved Pickett while she was getting treated, is going to come back out, put some minutes in, able to keep her wing back from getting forward, her outside mid.
There's Victoria Pickett after taking that ugly spill just minutes ago. She was a big key for Wisconsin to come out on top today. Must dictate the pace, as Paul Wilkins, her head coach, knows how important her presence is. Claire Shea, the new center back, will send it back to the goalie Bloomer. Wisconsin getting a goal in the 13th minute by Cameron Murtha. That's the difference right now. Badgers, this is going to be an offside. It was Lauren Rice that time. Lauren Rice is a big-time goal scorer for Wisconsin. She had that goal against Marquette and an assist from the Indiana Fire Soccer Club.
And that's just a big interstate matchup right there. Bit of a grudge match. A lot of the Wisconsin players that grow up in the club system, majority go to UW or to Marquette. So getting to play against the players that you grew up playing with always adds a little extra intensity to that game.
Bosco sends it down for Steiner. Steiner's not going to get to it. Instead, Bloomer does first. Talk about that club scene. So many of these players, superstars on that scene. Go from there to big-time college soccer. Is it a big difference, Kate?
It's a huge difference. Everyone's just as quick as you. Being fast is the norm unless you're incredibly skillful, so you can compensate for your lack of speed. And you usually get a ton of playing minutes because there isn't a huge population in Wisconsin to begin with. It's a different type of soccer up there due to the elements at times. Sometimes a bit more direct in the Big Ten in order to compensate for that and slower grass, but you're not going to find that in the SEC with beautiful climates. You're able to keep the grass a little bit shorter, and the speed of play is a little bit faster and on the ground.
Now, this is just a gorgeous pitch here in Lexington today. Challenged by Grosso, and again picked up by Pickett. Alexis Ty trying to set it down for Lauren Rice. Flag will stay down this time. And again, we get a little physical as Mills goes down.
Right now, if you're Kentucky, they need to figure out how to handle the midfield runners that end up going on the back line. That means that the midfield has to start tracking back. We get to see Rice laying out Ignafo, usually playing on the right-hand side. Over on this side now. Excuse me, Mills.
Pickett very involved here in the first half.
With playing 5 in the midfield, there's too many holes right now for Kentucky that Wisconsin is able to play the ball in the channels. Their defensive shape, every single time an outside back or center back has the ball, isn't plugging up that central channel, which is allowing Wisconsin to play higher up in the midfield and then connect to their front line.
Murtha tried to cross one in. Wildcats unable to clear it. And again, the possession edge handedly here in the first half by the Wisconsin Badgers. Bogowski now will lay it for Lauren Rice. Rice will keep it in bounds, play it from the corner. Left-footed cross comes in just outside the 6. And now Lofton a service. And Wildcats just having a hard time clearing it right now. Murtha keeps it alive. Pickett, so tough to mark. And now far side, trying to get another one in. This one on the ground, and Kentucky can finally clear it. Here's Abby Steiner. Look at the speed. Steiner trying to separate. The goalie comes up, and a tremendous save by Jordan Bloomer. Had a collision there right at that line near the 6.
excellent recognition by Kentucky. Realizing the left back, Wesley, is out for the Badgers. They're able to play that ball into the seam. Left center back, Claire Shea, able to come over. Look at the speed of Steiner in order to celebrate. What lets her down is the ball doesn't carry with her at the same pace of her legs. And there wasn't a time to get any deception to test out a charging goalkeeper, Jordan Bloomer, who made herself big and was able to thwart the attack.
So a hydration break here as these two sides will talk things over. Again, it is a humid day here in Lexington, as women's soccer here on the SEC Network is brought to you by NHTSA. Wisconsin 1, Kentucky 0. Here in the 23rd minute, Drew Felios, Kate Markgraf. And so far, Wisconsin controlling possession. Kentucky Wildcats, though, having some moments of their own. And again, soccer here on the SEC Network, brought to you by NHTSA. Drives over or get pulled over. SEC and Big Ten tangling. And Kentucky showing some firepower with Abby Steiner. Yuka Kurosaki has not really gotten into this match quite yet.
No, and she's talking to one of her assistant coaches, telling her where the balls are. How exactly do you want me to play? Do you want me to play up front in the seam? Do you want me to come back and build? And this is a player that came in early to Kentucky, getting used to language, getting used to culture, and is now operating at a higher level than she did last year and is one of the leaders on this team. But she hasn't had the influence that she's had in other games, partly because of the quality of Wisconsin and that because Kentucky isn't able to hold onto the ball in the midfield. You expect it to be direct from Kentucky with 3 in the back, but they gotta find a way to find their midfield.
All right, we are joined now by Paula Wilkins, the head coach of Wisconsin. And Coach, so far so good. Are you happy with the start so far for your Badgers?
Not really. I'm concerned about their counterattack, what they're trying to do with 22 up front, and we've got to take care of that. The biggest thing is we need to stop giving balls away. Simple balls, we have clear possession, so they can counterattack. I think we've got to be way better in that situation, and I'm not happy with where we are with that, with our decision making. So I think we can switch the point of attack, especially on the left side. Number 9 doesn't track as much, and we can get Peyton forward, but we have to do that and keep possession at the same time.
Coach, you're not very impressed with your team at all, but who from your team so far has stood out to you as having a decent performance?
Well, Kami scored a great goal, so that's going to be it. But I think Vic can break through the midfield there and doing that. And I think Maya Sella's done a great job. We're going to need some more for her off the left flank.
Coach Wilkins, thanks so much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Checking in for
Paula
Wisconsin,
Wilkins, one of the
number
best
15,
in the
Rose.
business. You would think that she'd be pretty satisfied, but clearly does not want to be susceptible to those counters that are lethal from Abby Steiner. As Danny Rhodes will enter for the Badgers here in the 24th minute. Emily Borgman going to the bench. .86 degrees here at start time today. Feels like it's over 90 degrees. Players feeling it just a little bit here in the first half. Ball's going to be sent out. It'll be a goal kick coming up for Hannah Leonard and Kentucky. So on that last challenge on the other side, when Jordan Bloomer came out to challenge Abby Steiner, it's got to be a tough feeling as a goalie knowing you got all that speed coming at you. And I think a good decision by Bloomer to come out and stop it.
But it was made easier because Steiner didn't change the angle of the ball at all. She was very direct, trying to cut it in from that wide half channel that she was sitting in and then trying to go on to goal. But no deception. Had she taken another touch in, it would have been more difficult for Bloomer then to come out and try to shut down one corner out of the 2. In that situation, she was only really giving up one side with her direct run. But Steiner's a freshman. So we're just starting to scratch the surface as she's starting to play against some really good defenders and some organized defenses. And she will mature and become a bit more sophisticated so she can reach her potential and use her speed to her advantage. And just too Too much of a body tackle by Murtha. Laying out Mills. And Murtha's a big, strong, physical player. You can see Mills back up, which is something you always want to see.
So Gretchen Mills a little slow getting up. Mills usually comes in off the bench, but Kate, she's in the starting 11 here today because Miranda Jimenez still recovering from a concussion, not able to play today.
Imagine when she comes back and Samardzija, the leading points, active leader in points coming back from an ACL. When they get those two pieces, they'll add another layer in their attacking options, making them more difficult to defend.
Yeah, Tanya Samardzija tore that ACL in that Florida State game last season. Still trying to make her way back as Eva Mitchell operates now from the left side. Wisconsin defense a little bit more compact than Kentucky has been here in this first half as Bloomer gets her hands on it once again. Well, Thursday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, the SEC Nation traveling pregame show heads to College Station, Texas with Laura, Marcus, Paul, Tim, and Lauren. They'll break down the Northwestern State Texas A&M game. SEC Nation presented by Dr. Pepper right here on the SEC Network, also streaming live on the app. Here's Sella. Again, working that left for Wisconsin. Ball stays inside the 18. Badgers trying to turn with it. And again, that back line challenged for Kentucky. Unable to clear it, though. Another lazy one is Bogolski collecting. She tries to cross it in. And Kentucky just having a hard time really getting out of danger here today. There's a cross, and there's a great touch. Badgers make it 2-0, and that's the superstar Victoria Pickett.
And Murtha is playing so well. This time she's known for her crosses. A nice driven ball. Pickett times her run from the midfield perfectly. That cutback ball is key for the midfield to stay with their runner, allowing Pickett to run free. Look at it, that's even like a little bit of her outside of the right foot just to have that accuracy. Hannah Leonard had no chance on that one compared to the first goal. But that's an excellent start for Victoria Pickett to get a goal early in the season. And right back on the other side, we're seeing Steiner again with that pace. And well done by Douglas to be able to hold on that ball, not just clear it straight in the middle, as Kurosaki was waiting for that second ball. But Murtha, goal and assist so far in this first half.
Yeah, Murtha really feeling it as Badgers with Victoria Pickett moving forward. Again, Coach Paula Wilkins told us that Pickett, among the best players in the country, she can go at anybody. She is doing that right now to Kentucky. And Murtha with a goal and an assist. Feeling it right now for Wisconsin. How about the Badgers? A couple one-timers here in the first half. So if you are Kentucky right now, have not been in a position like this so far this season, any adjustments you think they need to make, Kate?
Anytime the ball goes on the flank in their defensive third, their midfield needs to get touch tight with one of Wisconsin's midfielders. They have a 4-on-4, if not 5-on-4 advantage. They need to hold on to a player and track their delayed runs into the box. That's the second goal from that 12 to 18 position off of a late run that they've given up an opportunity.
Maffo had it for a moment. Bloomer plays it on the other side for Wisconsin. This is only Jordan Bloomer's third start in net for the Badgers. Alexis Ty now. And this ball winner does all the dirty work for Wisconsin. Going to start this run. Approaching the 30th minute here in Lexington. Wisconsin and Kentucky. Couple first half goals by the Badgers, the difference. Mitchell shakes a couple defenders, gets it ahead to Steiner. Mills sending it forward. Nothing doing, though, is Wisconsin well organized. Grace Douglas, the captain from Cross Plains, Wisconsin, part of that back line. Now, this Wisconsin defense, perhaps a little bit underrated coming into this afternoon, giving Coach Carey's team some issues. You know, in that loss to Florida State, they did lose 3-0, but only gave up 3 shots on goal, 6 shots total. So that score may be a little bit misleading, and they felt really good coming in here today.
Well, when you play against quality teams like Florida State, they're going to penalize you for any mistake you make. So if you're a goalkeeper and you misdistribute out of the back, they're going to punish you for it. They don't need as many opportunities or chance creations to convert them as opposed to other teams. That's the difference between your top 20 and everybody else.
Ty sends it back. Grace Douglas puts it in the air for the Badgers. Wisconsin on a turn, again threatening, and the blast straight on goes way over everybody as Lauren Rice laid into it. And another substitution as Steph Fabry will come in once again, and she'll replace Cameron Murtha this time.
And Kurosaki is coming out for Kentucky, adding a little bit more speed with the insertion of English international Holly Olding, who can play a little bit anywhere. She has spent time at defensive center mid, time at attacking center mid, has gone up front, can plug the holes.
Holly Olding, the starting center back last year, but now playing that forward spot. Could you ever see yourself playing forward, Kate, ever?
Always in my head. I played forward in high school. It just wasn't good enough in college. That's how most defenders are. No one ever sets out to be a defender in their life. Mm-hmm. But then you realize, oh yeah, this makes more sense.
Badgers now trying to turn. Once again, Fabry trying to get a cross in. And it'll be played by Mitchell. Mitchell trying to get it to Olding. Olding will save it before it hits that touch line. And again, Wisconsin is sort of winning those 50-50 battles right now. Now Kentucky will play it ahead. Good ball, Olding.
Great idea from Kentucky, just poor execution. The ball not hit with enough pace and weight to expose the back. Bogowski, who'd gone forward, and there was a gap in there for Olding to exploit. So the idea is there, and that's a nice little interplay up, back, and change of point. Had they connected, that'd have been a nice breakout for the Wildcats.
Yeah, pass certainly looked great from up here. That's a poor clearance by Leonard. She'll get it back quickly. And those are the little mistakes that good teams will really make you pay for. No damage done, though, this time. Peyton Wesley trying to send it down the field. And it'll be another goal kick for Kentucky. So Wisconsin with goals early on. Cameron Murtha the first. Victoria Pickett made it 2-0 in the 27th minute. Pretty impressive body of work so far by the Wisconsin Badgers playing on the road. You know, this Wisconsin team, too, after that loss to Florida State, I think Coach Wilkins told her team, emphasized that good players, we cannot give them their moments. If we do, they're going to make us pay. And we've seen sort of Yuka Kurosaki not really get into the flow for Kentucky. I think Wisconsin really aware of her here in the first half. Fiedler will toss it in for the Badgers. Good ball won that time by Holly Olding. Chased down though by Fiedler with those fresh legs. Mitchell trying to win it. It'll be a throw in for Kentucky. Again, Kentucky coming in this afternoon unbeaten, 3-0. Different level of competition though here. Taking on these Badgers from the Big Ten. Fabry. And the Badgers now getting organized. Wisconsin with Victoria Pickett. Pickett's got some pretty nice speed as well. We've talked a lot about the speed of Steiner. Pickett, tremendous wheels also. And let's see, are they going to get a corner kick? It looks like they will. Maichella involved that time. Lauren Rice will do the honors. 6 corner kicks for both sides. Lauren Rice right next to a couple dogs. Put this one on the ground. Right back to her. Here comes the service. Wildcats were waiting for it, and this one across the side of the goal. Danny Rhodes getting a foot on it that time. Well, tomorrow the SEC Network grants you an all-access pass to fall football camp around the conference, and you'll get never-before-seen footage and sound from each team. SEC Inside, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Football season just about here. College football gets into full swing next weekend. ESPN family of networks. 2 games this weekend. Another change made by the Wisconsin Badgers. Lauren Rice comes out. Abby Steiner, marked tightly that time. Wilmer puts it in the air. And with a 2-0 lead right now, you can see Wisconsin can kind of play a little bit more relaxed. Step back just a bit, although I don't think they're going to take the foot off the gas pedal anytime soon as Fabry puts this one in motion. Right side, gets it right back. Challenge though that time, Emma Shields came up late. And now Wisconsin finding feet. Sent forward. And a goal kick coming up for the Wildcats.
Well, it's well done by Gretchen Mills to kind of let that whole entire attack for Wisconsin die. Kentucky unable to clear it due to the defensive organization by the Badgers. Kentucky is against the wind right now, so every ball they hit in the air, unless it's driven, it's going to get held up, which is the reason why their clears are about 5 to 10 yards shorter than they need to be. We'll see a difference in the second half when they try to clear it out of pressure. Right now, the individual defending needs to improve as well from Kentucky because they're getting beat on that dribble by that initial press and then getting attacked in the acres of space right behind their midfield. It's just too stretched right now from front to back.
Time. You like take it. Turn, Dad!
Intercepted that time. Steiner, a good job for the Wildcats. And here's Eva Mitchell. Mitchell plays it from the center circle. Wildcats now getting some numbers forward. You hear some of the crowd just saying, move it around, let's possess a little bit. Kentucky having a hard time connecting passes right now.
Yeah, you're definitely hearing some coaching from these fans.
Big time.
I haven't heard a coach heckled that loudly in a long time by your own teammates.
This one sent ahead. Steiner trying to get to it. Grace Douglas cut it off just in time. Now Bosco. Bosco. A little air under it. Right at the feet and shot taken. Bloomer. Just unfazed so far for Wisconsin.
An exact mirror image of what happened on the other side is an inability to clear by the Badgers. Some poor clearance allows for a second ball chance. Olding able to connect with it nice and smooth. The English international, youth international, but unable to make Jordan Bloomer move a little bit, who calmly collects it and allows her team to get up.
Saw the shots on goal there. And another change happening for the Badgers. Natalie Vigiano, midfielder out of Troy, Michigan. Again, just a freshman, will enter, and Maya Cello will head to the bench. Maya's had such a huge role with this Wisconsin program. She's trying to fill that shoes of superstar Rose Lavelle, who made such a mark on the Wisconsin program. That's something that is so tough to do.
Different. She's just a different player. There are very few players that just stand out with individual qualities unlike anyone else, and Roseville is like that. Just doesn't feel pressure when she's double teamed and triple teamed and able just to silkily move in and out of it. Just key for her to maintain her health and to start to build confidence in her ability once again. Once she does that, she can influence any game against any opponent.
Lots of chatter right now on the pitch. Wisconsin, game clearly in their favor at the moment. 2-0 lead over Kentucky. A little shifty move made right there. That looked like it was an attempt trying to get it once more to Steph Fabry. Hannah Leonard has been challenged early and often here today. Wisconsin with only 2 matches under their belt coming into today. Kentucky has 3. One of the games for Wisconsin was canceled, that North Dakota State game early in the season. You had that. You had some injuries too to Danny Rhodes and Sammy Kleitke. Wisconsin, a little bit of a slow start according to Paula Wilkins, but it is all coming together so far here in this first half. Pickett. Ball does not get through the Kentucky wall. Wisconsin calmly sending it back and resetting. Pickett getting it ahead, and now Vigiano. Challenged and a foul. Foster Ignafo came up, made contact, and our officials right on top of it.
And just a nice little through ball that got the Badgers free. But Ignafo, too vicious on the tackle, too much of the body, and it'll be interesting to see what the Badgers do. Their last set piece from about 10 yards away from there. Alexis Ty got the handoff ball from Victoria Pickett. Wasn't that dangerous. Imagine this one's going to be on frame.
Wildcats forming the wall. A little bit of hesitation and then sent high over the goal by Pickett. Mentioned Sammy Kleitke just moments ago. She will enter for the first time for the Badgers. Just a sophomore, still recovering from an injury. Hoping to play some quality minutes here today as Grace Douglas will take a rest. Well, we invite you to stick around at halftime as we will check out action from around the SEC earlier this week. Also, who represents the SEC in the top 25 rankings. Kate will size up the SEC programs. Also, first half highlights and stats from Lexington. Excited to have you with us today. Kentucky, of course, in the white. Wisconsin in the all-red. Wildcats trying to get something going here at home. They got a nice crowd here on Bark in the Park Day, but just have not been able to put one into the back of the net so far. Danny Rhodes now attacking for Wisconsin. And Kentucky starting to get a little bit more physical, trying to win that one back. Abby Steiner didn't anticipate that pass. And Wisconsin will reset as we near intermission. Countdown to end this first half. And Wisconsin, a couple goals won by that young lady right there, Victoria Pickett. And the 27th minute. Susceptible to a few counters, but I think they settled in pretty well.
And they were clinical on converting the chances that were afforded to them on one-touch balls. Here's the first goal coming in, and just a one-touch from Murtha. And then Murtha, responsible with the assist, able to find Pickett, who would come back on after getting a bloody nose after a nasty fall.
2-0 the score, Wisconsin on top. Halftime festivities from Lexington coming up. For the Wisconsin Badgers over the Wildcats here at halftime, second half coming up right after this. A beautiful baseball stadium under construction here in Lexington. Going to be ready late this fall in time for the 2019 UK baseball season. And just one of the many incredible facilities. This soccer complex is just soup to nuts. Drew Felios with Kate, Mark Graff and Kate. Wisconsin 2-0 lead. Physical play in the first half by our standards, you say, sort of.
That's just unable. Victoria Pickett gets her right arm caught up with the defender, so not able to block her fall. That's just a perfectly executed tackle to deny the speedy Steiner an opportunity. Bloomer coming up big, no intention of getting the player. Steiner gets a little bit tackled up. But when Kentucky is around the Badgers, and when they're able to get a body on him, it stops the Badgers from connecting passes, and that's key. The difference is, in those opportunities, they actually had someone close enough. I imagine even if they stay to this 3-5-2, they need more help in that midfield, defensive midfield, to plug those channels, plug the first passing option, the first forward option, because right now they're not. And they're not even clogging the second one either. They're stuck in that no man's land, making it too easy for the Badgers to find that through ball from the midfield channel to the front one.
Saw number 22, Abby Steiner for Kentucky, had a few exciting moments in that first half. Jordan Bloomer, the Wisconsin goalie, made her come out one time, but Wildcats still looking for their first goal. Yuka Kurosaki back on the pitch for Kentucky here to start the second half. She wears number 10. And Kentucky will have the wind to their advantage as that wind continues to blow pretty sharply here from left to right. And there is Yuka. Again, 3 goals on the year, 1 assist. First Japanese player that the University of Kentucky has ever signed. 2-game winners so far this year. She has got to get involved. Here she is. Cut off that time. And Bloomer now gives it a ride. Emma Shields now will throw it in. Shields, a late addition to the roster, true freshman, and playing defensive center mid. Steiner tried to turn that time, but again, a couple Badgers waiting for her, as they have all day long. So Badgers with that big win over Marquette, 2-0 to start the year, and then coming off a 3-0 loss to Florida State. Seminoles, one of the top teams in the country, year in and year out. I remember, Kate, when they started that program in Tallahassee.
Well, Mark Krikorian is one of the best coaches in America, just a pure tactician, and his ability to recruit internationally. He was one of the few coaches that was able to do it year in and year out, creating a pipeline of some of the best players, youth players in the world, were getting a look at Florida State. So he's one of the first people to do that, and that has been the difference in maintaining that high level of play that they've always had. Because, listen, kids that are 11, 12, and 13 that are good, they're starting to get noticed and get recruited when they get into high school domestically. So if you don't have a chance at those players or you don't think you're going to get them, your next option is to go internationally. And he did that. He recognized that, one of the first coaches to do so.
Emma Shields now trying to send one in. Played at the 6. Kurosaki came up to it and again denied. Great job by that back line for the Badgers, staying right with her. Kentucky starting to apply some pressure here early on in this second half. Much different tempo and pace than what we saw in the first.
And a nice play. Service from the flanks, bouncing inside the box. No way Bloomer could have come out for it. And Shea able to get a body on Mitchell, prevent her to do it. Kurosaki just not able to get to that second rebound quick enough at the right angle, but a promising ball in for Kentucky.
Well, we talked about Kurosaki needing to get involved, and Coach Ian Carey raved about her, Kate, just about how the young Japanese player just so intelligent, anticipating things, and I think he's developed sort of a pipeline now for Kentucky soccer.
He's one of 3 players from Japan. She just needs to get closer to other players so she can connect them and get this team a little bit more compact moving forward. More numbers forward means more playing options, makes it more difficult to defend as an opponent. But they haven't been able to put their foot on the ball, so if they're going to try to hit him on the counterattack, she's going to have to keep up to speed to possibly get that ball back from Steiner in that midfield defender gap that's there.
Anna Leonard conceding twice in the first half. One to Cam Murtha, the other to Victoria Pickett. Peyton Wesley now will throw it in for Wisconsin. Nafo will hold it and should have a goal kick now coming up for Kentucky. And you mentioned how the game in Florida State, how they've one of the first teams to go international. You played in the mid-90s collegiately, Kate, at Notre Dame. Is it a different game now?
I think it's interesting that there's so many different styles now. Before, it was very much a 4-3-3, run and gun a little bit, a lot more athlete or an athletic approach to the game, except for a few programs. Now, based on the conference, you get to see a little bit difference, and obviously there's outliers, but you get to see 4-3-3 in the Big 12 is pretty common. Midwest 4-4-2, 4-5-1, a little bit bigger players, able to rely on set pieces. Everyone trying to play. It's fun just to see the different characteristics of each of the sides. So it's a much more varied type of soccer than the late 90s.
Make sure I get that right.
Just want to correct that a little bit. Said my birthday on air the other day. I was laughing. They're like, happy 21st. I'm like, times 2.
There you go. I'm there. Wisconsin there so far. 2-0 they lead in the 51st minute. Badgers will toss it in now on the far side, and that's Cameron Bogalski, junior out of Lombard, Illinois. Wisconsin 14-6-2 last year. bowing out in the second round of the NCAA tournament to South Carolina. No harm done that time as Hannah Leonard will put it in place for Kentucky. Talked about Kentucky, 13th ranked in the SEC preseason soccer poll. Wisconsin, meanwhile, a little bit more respectable, ranked 5th behind Penn State, Ohio State, Rutgers, and Northwestern. Badgers trying to get it in place. Borgman with a good touch and the shot, and it's just left of the post. Emily Borgman, a Canadian. She was the one who scored the game winner against Kentucky last year in this matchup in Madison. So the Wildcats remember Emily Borgman very fondly. Another collision there. Bodies are colliding here this afternoon in Lexington.
Agnafo's been one of the main tacklers in that defensive third, able to come up and put pressure there on Rice.
Lauren Rice. As Agnafo taps it, that'll be a cool corner kick coming up for Wisconsin. Team's about even on corners today. Rice will be the in-swinger here. That one deflected quickly by Agnafo. And there's Victoria Pickett to collect. And quickly a foul and another set piece coming up here for the Badgers.
And just a block from Bosco. Goes straight to Pickett. Does a Cruyff move. You get to see it right there. Gets her legs clipped a bit. What was impressive was how quickly she got back up, but it earns another chance right here. And Leonard doesn't get harassed much. Was able to hold on to it. Looking to quickly break to Steiner. Decided to reset instead.
Badgers now turning, and again it's Emily Borgman. Borgman with some space to work with. Wisconsin has recognized those pockets here today. Peyton Wesley now sliding it left, and this is Sella. Sella tries to send it in, and too many white uniforms there to take care of it. Oh, nice touch that time, and now the Wildcats running. Marissa Bosco needs some help. Not going to get there in time. Pretty nifty touch, though, that time by the Wildcats. A little flick with the head. And this is an offsides called on Abby Steiner. Coach Carey right there giving our officials an earful. Coach Carey really just everything you want in a coach. Players coach. He has changed the culture of Kentucky soccer. And I think he had a really good philosophy, Kate. He said, you know, the players don't come here to serve us. We're here as coaches to serve the players. Players, of course, going to love hearing that.
That was an interesting take. But you want a coach that's there for your well-being and your physical and your mental and your academic growth, of course, what school's all about. But as an athlete, you want to win, so you have to trust in your coach that they have a good progression and a good pathway forward. First thing he did need to change the culture. Secondly, they're playing on a hot Sunday, so fitness is going to be key for them and to continue to gain fitness, which may compensate in some areas where they lack a little bit of speed. You see a little bit of speed differential in midfield. If they get a little bit more fit, they'll be able to cover those gaps a little bit easier. But also, this team played on Friday, and Wisconsin played on Thursday, so they have 1 day's less rest in a hot climate.
Wesley throwing it in for Wisconsin. And now go the other way. Wildcats move up the pitch. Emma Shields. Kentucky started off the second half with a flurry. Waiting for that right moment to stick one in. The back of the net, get on the scoreboard, get this crowd going here at home. Emma Shields playing it. Abby Steiner. Can she get to it in the corner? Not this time. Well, one of the inspirational players for Kentucky, former players now I should say, is Evangeline Susi. Pictured right there. She was the goalie last season for this Wildcats team. But because of concussions, had to retire, end her soccer career. And now she's an undergrad assistant coach on the Kentucky side. And because of that, it's been a goalkeeping overhaul. 3 freshmen for Kentucky now playing in the net. And Evangeline still an inspiration for this Kentucky side.
And just helping out and adds that hunger when you see someone who can't play anymore and not due to anything other than injury circumstances. When you get a little fatigued, you look over as a player and be like, okay, well, you know what, I can suck it up a little bit. Because here's a player that would love to play that can't. But interesting story with that is when she was done and decided to not play anymore due to too many concussions and that accumulation, they had to have a field player come in the goal for the last remaining games of the season. So there are 3 freshmen coming in. Hannah Leonard is getting the nod. And all freshmen are going to make some errors, I think, on that first goal. Just not a strong enough hand to push it out. But they will continue to grow and improve. This is a team that is just starting their path.
Yeah, Tamaki Machi out of Tokyo, Japan. Another freshman goalkeeper for Kentucky. But it's Hannah Leonard's team right now. Hannah conceding twice today, but both goals really nothing that she could do. One-timers. Wisconsin starting fast. And now here come the Wildcats. Abby Steiner, right side. Cut off nicely. Corner kick, though, coming up for Kentucky.
Well done by Grace Douglas, but it was made easier because Steiner's touch didn't go in to cut Douglas off at an angle, but you get to see the quality of Kurosaki. It's the weight at which she put on that entry ball. Steiner should have touched that ball in towards diagonal of the 6. Would have taken Douglas out of the play, but she does earn her team a corner kick.
Kurosaki now, the outswinger. This one, oh, that was really dangerous. See the crowd of red uniforms around the goal right now. Kate, you were a defender. What are the responsibilities here?
Well, it's the most difficult part of any type of service in the box. You got to keep an arm on your player and your head on a swivel, watching your player and the ball.
Kurosaki, oh, great service in that time. Wildcats just could not get a good foot on it. Kurosaki a little bit too far ahead. Again, you're seeing great effort from Kentucky, but Corsetti cannot catch up to it. Coach Carey's got to love what he's seeing at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit of a sustained attack, build some confidence. All because Kurosaki is able to pick out Steiner and then deliver quality balls on set pieces.
Badgers now trying to counter. Here's Pickett. Victoria Pickett, one of the 2 goals today. Will slow things down for Wisconsin. Challenged tightly, a whistle as we get physical once again. Well, the next SEC storied film is titled Stacy's Gift. Premieres tonight, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right here on SEC Network. The story of Arkansas Hall of Fame golfer Stacy Lewis, who overcame scoliosis to become one of the best in the LPGA. As always, it's available on the ESPN app as well. '61st minute. Wisconsin 2, Kentucky still looking for their first. Much better pace of play here in the second. 45 for the Wildcats. Done just about everything but score up to this point. Nice touch by Pickett. She's got such a great sense of awareness out there. Atkins now to Bosco. Bosco has it taken away. Here's Pickett again. Pickett shifting to her right, now going to her left. So good with the ball. Badgers slowly working their way. On the Kentucky side, another shot, and this one just wide to the right. Holly Olding entering for the Wildcats. Also Danny Rhodes coming in for Wisconsin. So out goes Bosco. And also Emily Borgman will get a break for the Badgers. Here's substitution rules in NCAA soccer. No re-entry in the first half. And in the second half, 1 re-entry allowed. This one now, played by Wisconsin. Wisconsin again causing problems for Kentucky. It's out one more time, belong to the Wildcats. If you are Wisconsin right now, Kate, just keep doing what you're doing, or should they be concerned about anything right now?
I think there's areas of growth where Wisconsin is not giving up simple passes from their wing players, unable to maintain possession. Their quality in possession is in their midfield, in the central part, and that's a personal challenge.
Here's a shot taken. This one deflected, came hard off the foot of Sella. Claire Shea. Olding comes up to play it for the Wildcats. Here's Murtha. Had the hot start for Wisconsin. She's got a hand in both goals here today. And it'll be a Wisconsin throw-in. Now it's Pickett with Wesley. Badgers owning the possession time here today. Right now it is over 40 minutes. This kind of gives you a sense of how they have controlled the way things have gone. Wesley now with Rhodes. Lauren Rice can't get to it that time. Emma Shields on guard.
So what's interesting there is you get to see the left back for the Badgers, Wesley, able to find Lauren Rice, that first runner for the forwards. Typically, there's a defensive midfielder sitting in front of that passing channel, denying that, making the defender have to do more of a cross pass or out wide. That is the easiest pass to make, and that's the reason why Wisconsin is able to build possession. And that's something Corsetti is not recognizing and coming over to help.
Abby Steiner trying to use her speed once again, but it's been nullified by the smart play of Jordan Bloomer, the junior keeper. In case you just joined us, there's our scoring summary. 13th minute, a one-timer by Cameron Murtha, her first goal of the season. Then the 27th minute, Murtha assisting on the Victoria Pickett goal, one that was a beauty. Kentucky's had some pretty nice moments, but unable to score so far. Here's Murtha again now, operating from the corner, making things happen. And a corner kick coming up for the Badgers. Steph Fabry will enter. She was the first off the bench today for Wisconsin. Maya Sella heading out. Wind picking up just a little bit as Lauren Rice puts it in play. Badgers go short with it. Rice will now service it in. Traffic right around the goal. Cleared out by Cressetti. This one lofted nice and high. Badgers trying to do something with it here. Tapped out again. We'll have another corner.
Taking the corner kick for Wisconsin is on Rice.
Warren Rice to put it in motion. Another one causing some danger. Hannah Leonard leaping up high, getting the glove on it, and it's another pretty nice save.
Nice strong wrist by Hannah Leonard. She generally stays on her line, doesn't come off very far, very safe in her goalkeeping. Look at her trying to organize. That's good to have the presence of mind for your freshmen to tell other players and direct them on where to go. And when it matters, she's able to come up big, hold her own, and push it over the net. It's interesting to see all the different wrinkles that Wisconsin is adding to their corner kicks. We've seen them go short. We've seen them play that ball that's parallel to the end line. And now they'll probably just serve this one in. It's a nice added dimension, makes you more difficult to scout.
Barrage of corner kicks here for Wisconsin, 3 in a row. This Kentucky defense really being tested as it'll go across the touchline, and that'll bring us to our second water break of the afternoon. Kentucky fans enjoying the day at the park. Bark in the park. And you know, during these hydration times, players getting hydrated, dogs need to be hydrated as well. Hannah and her dog Stella, Caroline Newland, Fergie.
And it's a point of selfies. It's a point of Instagram to take pics of your food and of your dog.
And our attendance today, over 1,000. 1,214 does not include the dogs. You throw the dogs in, a lot more than that for sure. Well, in case you are just joining us, here's our scoring summary. Early on, how about Cam Murtha?
Cam Murtha, a nice solid finish. Hannah Leonard not with a strong enough wrist to block that out of, but poor marking in the box. All the goals and the runners came from midfield with a delayed run. Midfield not able to stay with them and connect it. Wisconsin looking to bounce back after a tough loss against nationally ranked Florida State. Is going to gain some confidence from a win today if the score still stands.
And Victoria Pickett really picked her moments for the Badgers. She is impressive.
You were waiting to say that.
See Victoria getting hydrated. And we're joined now by Ian Carey, the head coach for Kentucky. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. You knew coming in this was going to be a different type of test for your team. Obviously still looking for their first goal, but how do you think they've responded overall so far?
Well, we were pretty disappointed the first 15-20 minutes and getting beaten in a 1v1 situation down the line, and something that we've been working hard upon and making sure we're secure back there and not locking on in the box. We've conceded 2 goals, so we've put ourselves in this position and in this hole, and it's up to the girls in the field right now to work hard for each other, try and get a goal back, and then just keep pressing and pressing Wisconsin. But you're right, it's a totally different test of what we faced so far. Obviously we played them last year, we know their style of play, we've watched their games, etc. that they played this year, and again, you know, you go play Florida State like what we did last year, and you're a wounded animal, and you just want to come out with all guns blazing. So, you know, we've just got to cope now with what Wisconsin are going to throw at us.
Coach, in the midfield, it looks like defensively you're not able to stop the attack. Did you guys make any changes there or any type of tactical shifts in order to stop those channels?
Yeah, so just now what we've done is we've moved back to what we've been playing the last 3 games in regards to dropping 2 instead of having 1. Gina Cressetti was the 1 and she was dealing with Pickett, and as you guys were just saying before I come on, she's a special individual, and you know, you give her time and space in the ball and she's so fluid as she's dribbling at your back line, and their front runners make some fantastic runs off our defenders, and it creates so much sorry, just watching that. it creates so much options for them. So yeah, we've gone into 2. Emma Shields has dropped in with Gina Crusetti. We've got Yuka Kurosaki just in the pocket, and gone with 2 up top with Holly Olden and Abby Steiner to give us a little bit more numbers up top, try and hold on to the ball. But yeah, she's you know, we knew coming into the game what Pickett brings to Wisconsin, and you know, she's a fantastic soccer player. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but hopefully we can adjust.
Coach Carey, thanks so much.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
All right, Ian Carey, his 2nd season leading Kentucky. Wildcats in a 2-0 hole here in the 70th minute. Another corner kick for Wisconsin. Nice touch there by Murtha, and now headed. Leonard able to keep it out. Murtha still on top of it. Wildcats can't clear it, and this one is stuck far post. And Wisconsin has scored again. It was Lauren Rice coming up off the rebound to take care of things.
And Lauren Rice has been responsible for a lot of the quality service on set pieces. She serves this one in, and it's the fact that the Badgers on every single attempt keep it low, forcing rebounds and Leonard to make saves. Rice comes in off of that service in traffic, hits it with enough pace. Now look at Rose number 15. She is screening Leonard, so Leonard doesn't quite see this till too late, unable to step in front of Rhodes to get around it. So as much as Rice definitely gets the goal, a lot of that is thanks due to Rhodes' play.
All right, now Wisconsin doing the little things. Julia Grasso will throw it in for Kentucky. Grasso, not much playing time last year for the Wildcats. As Wisconsin continues to gain confidence, I think Coach Carey made a great point. Talked about Wisconsin, that match with Florida State last week, and sometimes the confidence takes a little bit of a hit, but you just come out here today looking to rebound and get things rolling again. And they had it working from the start. Leonard able to pick up that header.
I think he has dogs on the mind. Didn't you call him a hurt animal? I thought that's a great metaphor. I mean, that's essentially what you are after you play against Florida State. You get humbled quite a bit, and then you try to get better.
Wildcats now attacking. Left side. Here's a shot taken, and it's buried. Abby Steiner with the answer, and finally the Wildcats on the scoreboard.
We'll call the Cardiac Cats. They're able to score goals in late minutes. Steiner with a great touch to beat Douglas, but doesn't chase her down with any bit of intensity, and she's able to take another separating touch. Look at that. Nobody's stepping. No coverage from the center back to put her under pressure, and she's able to finish it. Bilgowski not able to provide the cover too far away, but give credit to Steiner. Took that separating touch, was able to get her hips around it, and beat Bloomer on the near post, and then it bounces off at a good angle to allow it to be 3-1. And that's a huge momentum shift for Kentucky. They've been outplayed for the entire game with a couple key moments, all created by the speed of Steiner. There we got to see a little quality. So individually and collectively, it's a bit of a momentum shift.
That's a great point. Peyton Wesley, touch now, and Steph Fabry attacking. Kicks it back out. Wesley marked tightly. Kentucky winning it back. Wildcats now will try and get some numbers for it here in the 72nd after the goal by Steiner. Trying to do some building here. Kate, you mentioned how Abby Steiner, we talk so much about her speed, but to be a great player at this level, you can't just play at 100 miles an hour. You got to play at 40 miles an hour, 50, 60. You know how to change speeds, and the word you said, quality.
Just change a pace, right? You get to see Victoria Pickett do it against any good individual defending. If someone does a change of pace, that's another arsenal. It's another technical ability. And look at her speed right there. She is one of the fastest runners in the 100-meter and 200-meter in Ohio, but not only just in Ohio, by all high school records.
Abby Steiner, as fast as they come here in the SEC. Holly Olding now with Kurosaki. And we got a player down for Kentucky. We'll stop play here as Abby Steiner and her teammates getting ahead of steam. A little bit of concern now as a player being tended to right near that midfield line. Did not see exactly what happened. Again, it's very hot, very humid here. This is the part of the game where the legs start to feel a little heavy. Remember, this has been a pretty physical game up to this point. See if we can take one more look, Kate, see where it happened.
And you're going to look on the near side of your screen. Two players go down here. It's right here. Watching the near side, you get to see her walking. There is no collision.
Oh, wow, she just goes down.
She just passes out and goes down. I don't know if pass out is the right term. But immediately, you saw Curry step up and the trainer and get on her.
Coach Carey immediately heading out to help take care of his player. And that looks like Ignafo, Foster Ignafo, out of Geneva, Illinois, a junior. She'll be helped off. And moments before, Kate, she went down, she was actually hit in the face by the ball. So perhaps that contributed to her going down as well, just a little bit woozy.
And confluence of factors, heat, getting a collision by a ball or a player, anything can happen. Also, this team played on Friday, and a psychological and emotional win as they win in the last minutes. So this is what we're wondering, of whether or not this was a contributing factor to what we just saw. We get to see her man up and and just gets drilled in the ball from Wesley, and she just reacts a little bit odd. Just immediately, but then slowly moves her jaw around. And it's smart to get her off the field, get her some rest.
After she took that shot, she thought she was going to be okay, you could see, and then it kind of sets in about 10 seconds later. Bit of a scary moment there for the Wildcats. Hopefully Foster Ignafo's okay. So 73rd minute, 3-1 is the score. Foster, another one of those speedsters for Kentucky, as we were talking about Abby Steiner being a track athlete and a soccer athlete here at Kentucky. Abby will run track here in Lexington. That's how fast she is. And Kate, you've mentioned that speed throughout this broadcast. I mean, we're talking the times comparable to Marion Jones' speed. Allison Felix, world-class sprinters. Number 22, Abby Steiner.
Yeah, her potential is off the charts. We get to see her composure in the goal that she scored, realizing she had an opening, had enough time to get her hips around it and keep the shot low. So she's just going to get better and better the more soccer she plays at a high level.
High school state records in the 100 and the 200. So difficult to play two sports at the college level. Abby Steiner is up to the task here in Lexington. Well, the football season officially starts Thursday night right here on the SEC Network with Jimbo Fisher leading Texas A&M, hosting Northwestern State in College Station at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. SEC opening night also available live on the app, so you can watch anywhere. Nobody covers the SEC like we do. Got any favorite college football teams this year, Kate?
Notre Dame.
Of course.
Always Notre Dame.
Cameron Murtha. You know, I will never forget that 1993 1 versus 2. I was at Florida State. I was a freshman at the time.
You were.
Absolutely. Did not go in our favor. As Peyton Atkins now in the game for Kentucky. Wisconsin with Steph Fabry. Bogowski trying to send one in. And marked tightly. Emma Shields deflecting it as well. Another corner coming up. This ball sent in. Played out by the Wildcats. Julia Grosso takes care of it. Wisconsin with a comfortable 3-1 lead. The only goal by Kentucky going to Abby Steiner. Badgers trying to threaten once more. Good position by Jordan McNeese that time, but no harm done. Marissa Bosco comes back in for the Wildcats, and Yuka Kurosaki will head to the bench. Yuka get a nice round of applause. She's played much better here in the second half.
Well, just much more connected up top with her front runner Steiner, and also Holly Olding coming into the lineup always provides a little bit of speed, but quality in reading the play.
Badgers now trying to work quickly, and the flag will go up as Danny Rhodes down the pitch a little bit too fast. You know, Kate, we talked about 10 minutes ago about just playing against talented players more talented than you are, kind of making you as a player say, wow, and want to improve your game. And I have to ask you, was there ever that moment in your career?
Every game. Every game. I mean, but that's the sign of a true competitor, is that you we'll get back to that in a second, see what Steiner's able to do out on the wing. And she's able, her just work rate is able to earn her team a corner. Every single one of these players, to get to this level, you have to have that internal drive and not get mentally fatigued in your pursuit to reach your potential. And honestly, I never thought I ever did reach my potential, and I bet a lot of these athletes feel the same way. That
really?
Constant drive to always get better.
Marissa Bosco puts it in motion. This ball nice and high, but there's Jordan Plumer, who has made good decisions all day long for Wisconsin. Jordan was somebody that Coach Wilkins said really waited her turns, got that big save capability, but managing the games had to sort of work on that. She's looked pretty good here today.
Well, that's just his game decisions on when to punt and play quickly out of the back to start the transition moment, or when to hold the ball, and also the decisions on the clearance when you do decide to play with your feet. That's something she will learn, because if it's not perfect, or if it's not exactly placed where it needs to be, your opponents are faster than what you remember when you were starting in high school and in your club or even in practice. There's a different intensity to game moments. You have to learn how to adjust to that.
Peyton Atkins. Victoria Pickett once again for Wisconsin. Pickett serving it. Fabry goes down hard. How about that challenge by Caroline Newland? Wildcats players getting on the ground here. Let's take one more look at this collision.
And this is just a hospital ball by Pickett, laying up Fabry. Fabry is not one to ever shy away from a physical challenge, a bull in the China shop mentality. And well done by Crossetti to go to ground, or Emma Shields, excuse me, and get something on it.
Eva Mitchell throwing it in for the Wildcats. Still plenty of time to work with if you are Kentucky, but you see Steiner getting extra attention over there now by the Badgers. This could be a defining moment for the Wildcats. Steiner has scored. Clearly Wisconsin trying to take her away. Who else, with Kurosaki out of the game, can step up in a moment like this? Rhodes, good effort. Unable to keep it alive, though. And now Newland will throw it in. Victoria Pickett, calming influence here today for Wisconsin. Goes down again, right in the center circle. The official stepping right in. The foul story, Kentucky with 3, Wisconsin with 2. It feels like there's been a lot more here today. Well, tomorrow the SEC Network grants you an all-access pass to fall football camp around the conference. Never-before-seen footage and sound from each team on the SEC Inside, 7 Eastern Time, and streaming live on the app. 3-1 here in Lexington, Wisconsin, trying to improve to 2-1 on this young season. Another tie-up here, and it's going to be a goal kick, ball awarded to the Wildcats. Drew Felios with Kate Markgraf. About what we thought we'd see coming. We knew Wisconsin was going to really take the pitch here today with something to prove, and they have done just that.
Well, it all came down to the tactical lineup. They started with one low in midfield for the Wildcats, and with the quality and the strength of the Badgers is in midfield, was able to capitalize on those huge channels and set play for long periods of time, and then quality finishing on their chances.
Wisconsin now playing the last 10 minutes on the Wildcats' side, and we have another corner. They have owned that category here in the second half. Vigiano will check in for the Badgers, and Steph Fabry will come out.
Thank you. Corner kick for Wisconsin, number 13, Natalie Vigiano.
Natalie Vigiano will head over for the corner kick. Vigiano, pretty decent ball. She'll come back over to try and recover. Fresh legs off the bench for Vigiano. Still staying with it, second and third efforts. And that is really kind of defined play today for Wisconsin. Here's Murtha. Murtha with that dangerous right foot. Legowski keeping it for the Badgers. Wildcats playing on defense here consistently. Badgers with another try, trying to get it near the 18, servicing one in. Hannah Leonard on the move as it goes across that back line, and now recovered by Wesley. It'll belong to Kentucky. So Wildcats got to just try and figure out a way to get it to the other side of the pitch right now, trailing by 2 goals here in the 84th minute. The Wildcats, too, have sort of struggled on their throw-ins. Also here today, maybe something looking forward that they can improve as they get into SEC play. As Abby Steiner not going to catch up to that one.
Checking in for Wisconsin, number 14, Maya Sella.
Maya Sella coming in for Wisconsin. Victoria Pickett will get a much-needed break. There's the upcoming schedule for Ian Carey's Kentucky Wildcats, and the schedule certainly does not get any easier, Kate.
No, absolutely not. Indiana's got a speedy front line and how they're going to deal with that. Missouri always dangerous in a 4-3-3. Lots of pressure all over the park.
Coming in. See the possession time, 64% for Wisconsin, 36 for Kentucky, handily won by the Badgers. Caroline Newland will come over and place it for Gretchen Mills. Again, keep an eye on Steiner. Also, Holly Olding, a big threat for the Wildcats, wearing number 4 here today. Mills hits it right to the keeper, Jordan Bloomer.
Just put too much bent on it with their left foot. Been better had a right-footed player taken that and bent it in away from Bloomer. Put it in the congested area between the 6 and the 12.
Grasso now tracking it down for the Wildcats. Headed by Wesley. Badgers not satisfied with 3 goals. They want another. Danny Rhodes, she would love to contribute here. Tries to get a left-footed shot on. And just stumbled a little bit that time, but you saw the pace that she brought. Substitutions now continue for both sides as Hikari Yamada enters for the first time, one of those Japanese players, only a freshman midfielder. She'll replace Holly Olden. Lauren Rice also in. Danny Rhodes will take a break.
And Yamada played for Japan in the Under-17 World Cup. Slowly getting adjusted to the collegiate game.
Mitchell going down. If you are the Kentucky Wildcats right now, of course, with time so precious, what are you thinking, Kate? Just try and get it down as quickly as possible.
Yeah, you're going to play a little bit more direct because it's not like their build-up play has been super effective. They do play a little bit more transition, has gotten their chances off of counterattacks. Now it's about adding numbers in the attacking third, getting more players around each other. And when you add someone like Yamada, can you find her to her feet? Because she can play in tight spaces.
Wildcats trying to get a shot on. Steiner close to it, but cleared by Wisconsin. Kentucky trying to keep possession here in the 87th minute. There's Mitchell. Couldn't keep it. Now they'll have to play out of the center circle. Peyton Atkins with it. Wisconsin has just made everything tough on the Wildcats here today at home. Eva Mitchell. Nice ball this time to Steiner. Steiner trying to cross one in. Will be sent out. Kentucky will throw it in. Kentucky with 3 big wins coming into today, but this Wisconsin side has just been a different challenge. Certainly going to be better after this match here today. Wildcats have to play from the center circle again. Handball that time. We play on. Vigiano, a nice touch. And now Bogoski will handle it. Grasso trying to send it down. And a corner kick for the Wildcats. I think just a goal here would be huge for Kentucky, even if they cannot equalize here late.
And just getting onto any half chance right now. Wisconsin a bit fatigued, unable to clear that second ball with any type of authority. Can they possibly lock it in and create more than one chance if they can't get on the first one? Good
ball by Bosco, but again, the hands and decision-making of Jordan Bloomer. It's been a huge factor today. Jordan Bloomer, only 2 appearances coming into this season. 5 appearances overall for Wisconsin, continuing to blossom in the net for the Badgers. Steiner. We're in the final seconds, final minute coming up from Lexington.
1 minute left in regulation.
1 minute left here from the Bell Soccer Complex. This particular match so fired up. I was, at least, and I know a lot of people were, about Kentucky and the way they had won their matches coming in. And Kate, you were the one who told me, Drew, hold the phone just a little bit. It's still very early in the season.
It is, and Wisconsin's a very good team. They play in the Big Ten. They're always super well organized and play solid soccer. So Kentucky is a little bit younger. They're trying to rebuild their culture. They're not as established. It's going to take time. But are they much improved from last year? Absolutely. when some of their freshmen get a little bit more minutes, a little bit more experience playing at the higher level, playing quicker against faster players, they will learn how to be a little bit more clinical with their passes. Because right now when they get the ball, they usually give it up after their first or second pass. That'll get better the more experience they get.
Certainly will. The attitude is there for the Wildcats. That is so huge, especially when you're competing in a grueling conference like the SEC. As Vigiano will put it in play. The final seconds from Lexington.
3, 2, 1, 0.
So that's going to do it. 3-1 the final score. Wisconsin Badgers defeat the Kentucky Wildcats. A day of learning for Ian Carey and his squad. But Kate, as you said, Kentucky gained just a little bit too much experience and skill on the Wisconsin side.
Yeah, Kentucky will grow from this game. Being challenged, they were able to adapt their system at the end of the second half, which is part of the reason with the stronger midfield they were able to have opportunities on the attacking end. Look for them to grow from that. And for Wisconsin, a great reaction after a difficult loss against a nationally ranked Florida State team on Thursday. That should buoy their confidence and start to gain some momentum.
Wisconsin looking forward to Big Ten competition, and Kentucky very young, talented as well. Will certainly be back. So our final score, 3-1. Coming up next, Thinking Out Loud here on the SEC Network. For Kate Markgraf, I'm Drew Felios, saying so long from Lexington. Wisconsin defeats Kentucky.